Welcome to the Mind Vault. If you've ever wondered why you do what you do, this channel is for you. We unlock the psychology behind your patterns, habits, and thoughts.
Have you ever been there? You're just sitting there, and you absolutely know you have what it takes to change your entire life, but you just can't. It is one of the most frustrating feelings in the world. Well, Laner, we're going to dive into why that feeling isn't what you think it is at all. You've got these huge dreams, right? You want to launch that business. You want to write that book. You want to finally step into being the person you know you're meant to be. But for some reason, just getting out of bed feels like climbing a mountain. The ambition is firing on all cylinders, but the action, it's just not there. So you call it laziness. But is that what's really going on? So instead of doing the work, what happens? Yeah, you know the drill. You find yourself mindlessly scrolling on your phone, you binge one more season of that show, you just stall. You're waiting for this magical bolt of motivation that just never seems to show up. And then, right on cue, that wave of guilt washes over you, and that harsh inner critic starts yelling about how you failed again.
But what if this isn't a character flaw? What if it has nothing to do with discipline? The psychoanalyst Carl Jung, he had this totally radical idea that this paralysis you feel isn't laziness. It's actually a sign of a deep wound inside your psyche.
Jung argued that what we call laziness is actually an unconscious defense mechanism. It's not that you don't want to succeed, of course you do. It's that a hidden part of you is actually terrified of what that success might mean. Your own mind is trying to protect you from something it sees as a threat. Jung had a name for this. He called it psychic paralysis. Think of it like a built-in emergency brake. Your unconscious mind yanks that brake hard whenever you get too close to something that might force you to look at those buried insecurities or old fears you'd rather not deal with.
And this quote from Jung just nails it. It really gets to the core of the whole thing. These hidden parts of our minds are in the driver's seat of our lives. They're directing our patterns, our self-sabotage, our failures, and we just shrug and call it fate, or just the way I am.
So, here's the big takeaway. That feeling of being stuck, it is not random. It's a message. It's your unconscious mind trying desperately to get your attention, to tell your conscious self, hey, we've got some stuff down here we really need to look at. You've got to understand, it's like we have two minds living in one body. Your conscious mind is all about logic and goals. It's what you think you want. But the unconscious, that's where all the fears, the old wounds, the messy stuff lives. And its only job is what it thinks you need to stay safe. Laziness is what happens when those two minds are at war. So this resistance, it's actually speaking to you in symbols. It's asking you to look deeper. Is this goal you're chasing something that truly lights up your soul? Or maybe you're not tired, you're just spiritually empty. Maybe you're terrified of what will happen if you actually succeed and people really see you. Now, to really understand this resistance, we have to talk about one of Jung's most critical concepts, the shadow. This, right here, is the key to finally unlocking that pattern of self-sabotage for good. The shadow is basically a bag where we've stuffed all the parts of ourselves we decided were unacceptable, maybe because of society or our family or just our own ideals. And here is the most important part. Every single person has one. Having a shadow doesn't mean you're broken, it just means you're a whole human being. So what's hiding in there? Well, sure, it's the stuff you'd expect. Insecurities, old traumas, that little voice that says you're not good enough. But, and this is wild, the shadow also holds our greatest disowned strengths, our creativity, the very potential we are most afraid to claim as our own. And facing these parts of ourselves, man, it takes so much courage. Like Jung said, to accept yourself completely is terrifying because it means looking at everything. The good, the bad, the ugly. But it is the only path to healing that paralysis. So this leads us to the solution, to the way out. This isn't about fixing your laziness or beating it into submission. It's about integrating all these lost parts of you to finally become whole. Jung called this incredible journey individuation. Individuation is this lifelong process of becoming who you were always meant to be. The goal isn't perfection. Forget perfection. The goal is wholeness. It's about getting your conscious and unconscious minds to finally work together in harmony. Jung saw the mandala as this powerful, beautiful symbol of the integrated self. It represents the harmony, the balance, the unity that you can achieve when all the parts of your psyche, including the shadow, are brought together into a strong, coherent center. So the goal of this journey is to move beyond just the ego, that part of you that craves control and perfection. The real journey is about centering yourself in the self, the totality of your being, which guides us toward true wholeness, not just what our ego thinks success looks like. Okay, so that's all great in theory, but how do we actually start? How do you take the first step on this path? Well, it's surprisingly small, but it is profoundly powerful. It all starts with the number 2, the 2-minute rule. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like some productivity hack you'd see online. But from a Jungian perspective, it is so much more than that. It's basically a form of spiritual warfare against your ego's perfectionism that keeps you trapped. You see, your ego's perfectionism is what keeps you from even starting. It builds this giant fortress of fear. But 2 minutes of action, it's so small, so non-threatening, that it sneaks right past the fortress guards. It proves that old story of "I can't" completely wrong. Your unconscious doesn't really measure time. It rehearses your identity. And now, let's elevate this. We're going to transform those tiny routines into powerful rituals. Why? Because your unconscious mind doesn't respond to logic or to-do lists. It responds to symbols, to story, to meaning. When you pour intention into these tiny actions, you're finally speaking its language. Because that's what it all comes down to. The energy and the intention you bring to something are what really matters. 2 minutes of sacred intentional action are 1,000 times more powerful than an hour of miserable forced work. Your soul doesn't awaken through force. It awakens through reverence and meaning. So the next time you feel that pull, that resistance you call laziness, don't shame yourself for it. Just pause. Your resistance is not your enemy. It's your guide. Ask it, what deeper truth are you asking me to finally look at?
If this opened your eyes, imagine what else is hiding in your mind. Don't forget to subscribe for weekly episodes that decode your brain, one pattern at a time. And if something clicked today, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay curious.